the best decision of my life. I followed her back home, and we made our home in Regina ever since. Now, when I moved to Saskatchewan in 2003, it was not the popular thing to do. It was very easy to get a U-Haul to go to Saskatchewan. It was very tough to get one in Saskatchewan to go because everyone was doing it. Everyone was leaving the province. Now, how many people here can trace their background to Saskatchewan? How many people have family, grandparents? Yeah, our number one export for decades. And a lot of them came here, and we like to take pride in all the, we like to take a little bit of ownership, all the great things that Alberta has accomplished. People back home in Saskatchewan say, I was part of the Saskatchewan people to figure that out. but you have made a difference, not you, not people in this room, of course, but the province has made a different choice in the last little bit. And I can think of no better case study, no better laboratory experiment for which philosophy is better than the situation between Saskatchewan and Alberta. When you look back to the debates at Confederation when Alberta and Saskatchewan were being created, the people in Alberta were nervous about Saskatchewan. You know, there's this economic dynamo. They're a little bit closer to central Canada. They've got slightly better conditions in certain areas. We had a bigger population in a period of time. And over the course of the next few decades, Saskatchewan consistently chose socialist governments, and people in Alberta consistently chose free market governments, and we saw the result of that. We saw booming dynamic growth in Alberta. We saw large cities become even larger. We saw innovative growth in the economy. We saw Saskatchewan stagnate under the NDP for decades and decades and decades. And now we can see the difference again. Saskatchewan has made a different choice. We've had Premier Brad Wolf since 2007, and just recently Alberta has made the decision to go with the NDP, and we have sympathy for you in Saskatchewan. We know what it's like. You know, conservative meetings in Saskatchewan for many years were difficult, but we kept communicating, we kept plugging away, we kept having those dinner table conversations with our families, and it works and it pays off. And I am confident that Alberta will make the right choice in the next election and rejoin the fold of the common sense Alberta provinces in the country. I want to thank everything that Michelle and Blake said. I had a great privilege of being the speaker in the last Parliament. I got asked as soon as I became speaker whether or not it would be like managing children. I've got 5 kids at home, 11, 9, 7, 5, and a newborn. And I never wanted to do that. I never wanted to make a comparison between children and peas. I thought that would be insulting to my colleagues. You know, we have these very passionate debates in the House, and sometimes we engage in a little bit of theatrics, but we are really motivated by pure intent. We have good intentions when we do things, and if we do lose our cool, or if we do kind of get carried away, it's all because we care so very deeply about the people back home that we represent. But it is difficult managing that personal life with the professional life as well, and I think I am probably raising future politicians. I had my son when he was about 5 years old. I was sitting at the kitchen table doing some work, and they were behind me in the living room. My son was 5, my daughter was 3 at the time, and all of a sudden I could hear Grace just screech, howling in pain. And I turned around very quickly, and I just saw Thomas looking white as a ghost. Grace was holding her arm, obviously in pain, and I lost my temper. I said, "Thomas, did you just hit Grace?" And he put up his hands and he said, "Dad, you have to understand the context." I tried so hard not to laugh. My 5-year-old spitting me? He did get in trouble, but, I had to take a little nod of the cap there to the political spin right away. My daughter learned very quickly the same thing. It was kind of a similar situation. Kids freaking out in the basement. One comes running up in tears. That was my younger daughter at that time, Maddie. And Grace was walking up behind her knowing she's about to get in trouble. And same thing, "Grace, what did you do to Maddie? What was going on down there?" And she looked at me and she said, "Well, I'm having trouble remembering." It's not a great look for politicians. But I want to pick up on a couple of things that have already been said and maybe expand on it a little bit. I don't think the 5.6 million Canadians that voted Conservative in the last election were wrong. I think they made an excellent choice. I think they voted for the right party with the right policies and the right leader. I think we gave this country 10 years of not just good government, but great government. We weathered the worst financial situation, the worst economic situation since the Depression, and we came out of it faster. We went into it later, and we experienced a much better situation. And that was because of the economic leadership of Stephen Harper and Jim Flaherty, and at the end, Joe Oliver as well. We did it by staying focused on the fundamentals, by staying true to what we believe in, knowing that taxes do kill jobs.